Hey, this is Jon Southurst, and today my guest is Ray Youssef, the CEO and co-founder of Paxful. Now, Paxful's one of the more interesting companies in Bitcoin. They're a P2P cryptocurrency exchange, and they have there's certain elements to the model that I find quite fascinating. They're particularly interested in, serving the underserved and not banking, but helping the unbanked. So I'm going to throw it over to Ray and let him introduce himself and Paxful and just tell us a story of how you got involved and how we got to this stage.
Hey John, how are you?
Good,
My
thanks.
name is Ray. I'm a New Yorker. I appreciate being here. I've been in startups and tech since I was like 21 years old, right out of college, and I had a really successful first two startups, and then I bought my mother a house. Then I went on a kind of hiatus, traveled the world, did all kinds of stuff, and then I came back, but she had a divorce, and I had to buy her a new house. Then I had 11 startups in a row, and all of them failed. I
11.
was really rough. 11, yeah, that's pretty brutal
Wow.
actually. But every single one of them taught me a lesson, and
Mm.
every single one of those lessons I see are completely, absolutely invaluable now in this challenge. And the challenge right now is absolutely immense.
Mm.
Taking on, we're actually taking on finance, right? Because
Yeah.
technology has disrupted everything except the core of finance. And only now can technology do that. So
Mm.
basically, what's happening right now is peer-to-peer finance. This is the age of peer-to-peer finance, and what's happening is finance. What's being done is that what Uber did for transportation, Airbnb did for hospitality. Companies like Paxful are doing for finance.
Yeah.
They're allowing people to solve each other's money problems, not corporations in between. This is absolutely amazing because in so many places in the world where there are limitations that we can't even imagine, people are really trapped. They're trapped in their own local economies and they can't break out. For example, in Nigeria, even if you have a bank account, which about 25% of the people do, even if you have a debit card attached to your bank account, even if you have $1 million in that bank account, you can only spend up to $100 a month online with that debit card.
Right.
Most banks still have that limit. Some have raised it up to 1,000,
Uh-huh.
but you still can't buy an iPhone X like that, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't even, they don't even allow you to wire substantial amounts of money out of the country, like over $5,000 out of the country. You can't even do that. I mean, the question is why? And there's the answers to all of that. But just to give you another example, because we in the West here, we really can't imagine these limits, right? It's
No,
just
not at all.
unfathomable to us. Like
Well, not
if
yet.
anyone
I think we will soon.
Yeah, if any one of us wants to start selling stuff online, it's easy. We just get
Yeah.
a merchant account from Visa, Mastercard. But you can't do that unless you're an American or European citizen, because you need a
Mm.
corporation in the United States or Europe, etc. And that's how you can get a merchant account. Someone in Nigeria can't do that.
Mm.
I met this one amazingly beautiful Nigerian lady in Lagos. We sponsor a lot of events in Africa now, and she was selling her clothes online on her Instagram account. And I asked her how is she collecting money, and she said she's giving them her friend's bank account. He's a Nigerian dude living in New York, so she
Mm-hmm.
gives him his bank account. He turns it into local money for her and sends it from his Nigerian bank account to hers. What does everyone else do that doesn't have that magical friend?
Mm. Exactly,
And
yeah.
another exactly, and I look. I mean, Nigeria's currency has gone down by 90% in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine 90% of your life savings gone. I've been talking all last night to our new team in Venezuela, and they were teaching me quite a few things. I mean, Venezuela expects 13,000% inflation this year.
Right.
I mean, that's I can't even imagine that.
13,000%. That's the kind of inflation where you get your salary and you have to spend it as quickly as possible before it's not worth anything, right?
I mean, yeah, you go out and buy some pineapples, eggs, and milk regular
Uh-huh.
ASAP because tomorrow it might only be worth like one, potato or something. And
Right,
this
yeah.
is the life people have to live with.
Mm-hmm.
We're also dealing with like Zimbabwe as well. We're learning about that marketplace. Like they just have to switch to the US dollar,
Mm.
completely. But how do people there get in US? Anyway, there's huge challenges
Right.
in every respect imaginable. Now we're talking mostly about the underbanked and unbanked, right?
Yep.
But there are even challenges with the overbanked. You know,
Yeah.
people that are overbanked, us in America or in the United States, where every single transaction that goes through, say we're running a business, you know, whether it's 10,000, 50,000, whatever, the bank will always like start bugging, where do you get this money?
Mm.
And that's a pain as well. So basically, we need to build bridges between the unbanked and the underbanked and the overbanked. This is
Uh-huh.
what needs to happen right now. That's what peer-to-peer finance allows us to do. And I began this journey when I went to my first Bitcoin meetup, and I met this dude named Artur. He was from Estonia. I had no
Hmm.
idea where that was. The organizer of the event introduced us. He was the first person I actually met in Bitcoin. The organizer said, we were the only two tall guys in the whole place, so he thought we might get along. We did, and we started something, and it didn't work. That was my 11th failure. But
What
it taught
what
us a
was that
lot.
first thing?
It was a startup called EasyBits. It was a retail POS for Bitcoin.
Hmm.
I mean, I want you to try to imagine the reaction of going to, like, I don't know, New York City bartender or a guy selling hot dogs on the street and trying to teach him about Bitcoin and why he should accept it.
Oh
It was
yeah,
rough.
I don't need
It
to
was rough.
imagine it. I've done it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work out for us, but we pivoted to something else, and that
Hmm.
became Paxful. And the reason we pivoted to that was it just happened very naturally. Like when I was actually homeless at the time, I had lost my place to live, and I
Right.
didn't really tell anyone. It was just easier to kind of just survive. In New York City, if you know where to go, if you're a local and you understand where things are, like you
Hmm.
don't have to. You definitely don't have to starve. You can
Right.
eat very, very well, and you can also dress very, very well. Like I know all the spots on Sutton Place where they throw away some amazing clothes, like pretty much every night.
Hmm.
So anyway, it was my life, but
Well, actually, can I ask you something about that? When you were, if you were homeless, as you say, like, you didn't have an address, and I know having no fixed address can make it very difficult to do banking too, right?
no, I had an address.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I used my friend's address. I didn't have an
Hmm.
apartment I can go to,
Yeah.
but I just kind of like stayed outside for like a
Mm.
couple days, stretch at a time. So I wasn't completely homeless.
So you
So I still
didn't
had
even have that Silicon Valley style, car backseat to live in and work out of.
no, no. I'm in New York. I never had a
Yeah.
car. So, but it was cool because I learned a lot, and like I said, I ate very well. There's some restaurants in Hell's Kitchen that throw away some amazing, amazing food,
Hmm.
every night, and
I
I
know that
dressed.
too.
Yeah, there you go. So it was all good. I learned a lot, and it was just a good experience
Uh-huh.
because at my very lowest point, one of my friends came up to us and he said, "Hey, you guys know you can sell Bitcoin for these little gift cards and make 100% profit."
Hmm.
And we're like, why would anyone give me a $500 PayPal My Cash gift card for $250 worth of Bitcoin? I wanted to know. I was like, how
Right.
could this possibly work? So I tried it. It worked. It worked.
Hmm.
And just like that, within like 2 weeks of learning that and seeing that it worked, we had scaled it up and I wasn't homeless anymore.
Hmm.
Arthur wasn't homeless either. I actually got him a place to stay with my best friend. He wasn't a local. He was just visiting from Europe, so he couldn't have handled homelessness as well as I could have. But we scaled it up and it worked. It worked
Uh-huh.
amazingly well. So all of a sudden, boom, we were like, this is amazing. I mean, let's build a platform around this. Was the current platform we're
Hmm.
using for that. We're, on forums and local Bitcoins. It wasn't really suited to that. So we basically built a system that was tailor made for gift cards and for this kind of process, right? Because
Mm.
if you think about it, gift cards are the best way to get money to the unbanked peoples, right?
They are. They're
Of
a
the
kind of
world.
surrogate currency, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's like all these, they're basically tokens for all these retail economies.
Mm.
And if you think about it, the most prolific gift cards like iTunes and Amazon, they're like the Coca-Cola of financial instruments, right?
Hmm. So when you did that, when you started that, what kind of user base did you have in mind?
Well, the first user base we had in mind was guys like us who can make money flipping these gift cards for Bitcoin,
Uh-huh.
right? And just
Guys with what,
helping
sorry?
out our guys like us
Oh,
who
oh
were
yeah, yeah,
down on their
right.
luck and needed something to
Uh-huh.
do and were looking for a way to make some money
Yeah.
and online, just sitting at home and doing this.
Hmm.
That was the first user base we had in mind. And we were building out for that and our friends and whoever was buying these Bitcoins. But the people buying these Bitcoins, I'm sorry, selling the gift cards for Bitcoins, they were mostly techie people, and
Yeah.
crypto people like us.
Mm.
And then one day, Arthur and I were sitting we work in Soho. A friend of ours let us kind of crash there late night, free, and we got a call. I got a call on my phone. I put my personal phone number on the website, and I was like, "What? No one ever called me. Who's this?" And it was this lady who was absolutely in the most desperate situation imaginable. This poor lady. She called me up screaming, "I'm down to my last $13, and I need this big econ." I'm like, excuse me, ma'am? Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. She needed Bitcoin.
Hmm.
She couldn't. I mean, this was a common thing. These folks that were calling up, were mostly these middle class, non-techie ladies, right?
Hmm.
And I could hear her children screaming and like crying in the background, and she was just continually screaming at me, telling me
Hmm.
she was going to get evicted, and she
Why?
needed this
Why did you
Bitcoin.
need Bitcoin?
I didn't ask her, but she kept telling me she needed to post up an ad,
Hmm.
and they only accepted Bitcoin, right?
Right.
And I think
Okay.
we all know that site was Backpage.com,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
They
Which
had
I
the,
have heard
yeah.
was like a large percentage of the market buying Bitcoin with gift cards. Is that how large a percentage was it?
Oh, it became absolutely massive. It
Mm.
became absolutely massive, and it was really this first call with this lady that really like opened my eyes. It was like imagine someone calls you and they're screaming, "I'm down to my last $13. I need Bitcoin," and they have no idea how to use Bitcoin. They don't have a computer. They just have a little low tech smartphone.
Mm.
They're not technically oriented at all, and you have to help this person. So first thing I asked her is like, um, "Okay, well you don't have a bank account?" I asked her, "Do you have a bank account?" She said, "No, I don't have a bank account. I don't have a credit card." I'm like, "Okay, how did you buy stuff online before?" And she said, "Well, I went to the gift store and I bought a Visa gift card, or one vanilla, I believe." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "All right. Do you that gift store, that drugstore you went to, does it have other gift cards?" She said, "Yeah, it has Target, Walmart, Amazon, etc."
Hmm.
All right. I was like, "Okay, I want you to go to the store and with your last $13, buy one of those top three gift cards and come right back. Call me when you're done." So she hangs up and she goes and does that. And the whole time I look on Paxful and I find I'm looking for a guy that can take gift cards, these other main gift cards like Walmart, Target, etc. And one of our guys on there, a young guy from Texas, his name is Toland77, and he's like, "Yeah, I can take Walmart or Target. I'm just going to charge a higher fee though to turn that back into Bitcoins." I'm like, "Okay, I don't think this lady minds. She just needs to post up a $2.50 ad." And she was desperate because she had been to like 8 different websites, literally spent the
Hmm.
entire day trying to get her first Bitcoin. And she couldn't. Because, I mean, the first site she went to was Coinbase.
Right.
Coinbase couldn't help her, but she didn't have a bank account,
Yeah. Exactly.
right? And I was like, "Oh, all right." So I had to help her. And we figured out. She came back. She called me up. I think she had a Walmart gift card. And I think she bought like two, Walmart and something else, maybe Target. He's like, "I got it," and I was like, "All right." So I connected her to Totem77, and I walked her through every step of the process. Like literally, I had to tell her, "Okay, scroll down on your phone. Okay, click this button." Like every single step,
Hmm.
and I had to go through the whole process of guiding a non-techie, normal person like this to actually getting their first Bitcoin. And
Mm.
because of that, we completely redid the entire product to be something that someone like that could manage
Yeah.
by themselves, very, very simple for the mainstream. And then she actually had to use the Bitcoin, right? She actually had to send the
Right. Yeah.
Bitcoin out. And my God, you don't know how complicated that is. Like, that truly is the scary part. Like, imagine, like, telling someone like that to copy and paste that long, scary Bitcoin address that looks like a password from hell on a smartphone
Hmm.
into like multiple tabs and like oh, it was a nightmare. So again, we really redid that whole process and made it super, super
I
simple
think a
for
lot of
people.
Bitcoiners are actually quite familiar with that walkthrough.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was something else, but like we had no idea it was this hard.
Right, yeah.
We never like felt the pain of the normal person, but I did for months. I
Mm,
was on the phone with these women trying to help them, you know. I even
yeah.
made a
Well,
video about that. I can show it to you.
oh, actually, please, yeah, I'd like the link to that. It
Yeah.
actually scares me to think what happened to them now because the FBI shut down Backpage, didn't they?
Yeah, they totally shut it down, and
Mm,
it's sad because a lot of those, I mean, Backpage had a lot of legitimate uses too, but a lot of the other
hmm.
uses, these people are going to be in danger now,
Right.
right? They're gonna have to put themselves in danger, and no one really cares about these people. No
Hmm.
one really. They're invisible. They're like invisible. I had no idea they even existed. Like all these completely unbanked people in the
Hmm.
United States. Oh my God!
Yeah,
It's like, but
the number is higher than people think.
it's like 40 million or more. It's
Mm,
like what? It's like this is a whole world of people. It's a whole country of
yeah.
people within the United States, right? And when they call you up and like you hear the children like crying in the
Hmm.
background and like, they're frantic, they're in pain. It's like whoa,
Mm,
this is serious. Like this was the first real use case for like mainstream getting into Bitcoin. And it was funny because I had built an exchange with someone else before, and that we it was that had his exchange and Paxful that were still on the top of the index where Backpage has sent everyone to, which is Bitcoin.org.
right.
And that guy started actually turning them away and reporting them to the cops.
Thanks, Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't appreciate. That's why I didn't work with that guy anymore because he was that kind
Mm,
of dude. And I was like, man, like these are the people Bitcoin is supposed to help
yeah, exactly.
more than anyone else, and you're just turning them away and calling the freaking cops, man.
Yeah.
Come on. That
I,
really pissed me off. So I was like, I answered every single call for 3 months. I was
hmm.
on the call, on the phone, like nonstop, literally 24/7.
I don't even like the notion of companies like Visa and PayPal making moral value judgments over who they can serve and who they can't. Like I don't think that's their job.
It's not, but apparently the sheriff in Illinois wrote
Mm.
them a scary letter, and he had political
Hmm.
ambitions. So they just pulled the plug. I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't really care. I mean,
yeah.
the,
I'm sure
the,
they don't actually.
no, they don't. I mean, now it's even bigger than that. It's like within a Western economy, a business can get shut off from Visa and Mastercard, and when that happens, that's a kiss of death.
Hmm.
How does a business even work at that point? They accept Bitcoin. A company like Backpage did that, but then no one knew how to use it, and it was a nightmare to
Mm.
use. Like literally, you couldn't even get it. So what do people do at that point? Like, what does a business do? I mean, and this doesn't happen just on a business level within a country. It happens on a whole country by country level.
Right.
If a country like Nigeria doesn't listen, or Venezuela doesn't listen to, the big boys, they can just basically sanction them. It's basically financial terrorism, right? They can destroy the value of someone's country's currency overnight.
Hmm.
Big countries like Russia can withstand the attack and grow stronger, but smaller economies like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, they really can't recover, especially if
Mm.
they don't have huge natural resources like oil, whatever. It literally destroys whole economies, like devastates them and enslaves the people. But imagine the value of your labor being worth 10 times less the next day.
Well, I'm a Bitcoiner, so I do understand that to a certain extent. But
Yeah,
yeah, I know
exactly.
it's a very real problem.
Yeah, it's a serious problem, and it is
Hmm.
the problem in the world. Is like, and that's what peer-to-peer finance can do. It can literally give everyone in the world a
Right.
global financial passport. The United Nations should have been giving everyone a Bitcoin wallet and a way to easily, move their fiat into Bitcoin,
Uh
but
huh.
they didn't. So now we
Yeah,
have
it's
to
not going
do
to
it.
happen. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people who are in Bitcoin, they talk about taking on the banks, replacing the banks, introducing a new financial system. But I don't think it's as easy as they like to make out.
You're right. I've since grown up quite a bit about that. We're not going to replace the banks.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to do that right now. They own the biggest. They own the biggest cities and biggest buildings in every city in the world, and they control the U.S. military, the U.S. Navy. So you can forget about that.
Mm.
So, but what we can do is basically be an umbrella over them, and basically just use them as on ramps and off ramps. That's it. Peer to
Right.
peer finance is the way. Why would we get rid of all those nodes, those cash nodes and money nodes in the world? Let's just use them.
Hmm.
So we don't like they won't they can if there's a exchange selling Bitcoin with his bank account, they can shut down that one bank account. But
Mm.
they can't shut down your bank account and my bank account if we're transacting whatever we want through Bitcoin and peer-to-peer finance, right? They have no idea what we're transacting. They might ask, but
Yeah.
they would have to shut down everyone's bank account to stop
Right. I
that.
mean, we've definitely seen isolated incidents of that happening. People, getting their bank account unilaterally shut down just because the bank suspected they were trading Bitcoin or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've had five of my bank accounts shut down. I've been
Mm.
banned permanently from three banks
Yeah.
just
Right.
because I was associated with the crypto. So like,
Hmm.
four American accounts and one European account, and
Oof.
counting. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's not an easy path, and I sometimes get the feeling on my darker days that it's gonna get a lot more difficult in the future. Do you sense that, or do you think it's actually getting easier?
um, that's a good question. I think it's for us on our side. We notice it getting easier. For number
Hmm.
one, because the average person is more educated now, and
Right.
we're getting wise to the important need of education. I mean, yeah, we just built a school in Africa. We're building another one too, right next to it, and we're sponsoring a lot of conferences and workshops. We're just opening up an incubator now in
Hmm.
Nigeria and sponsoring a lot of educational content. We're going to be putting out a lot of videos soon. So that's important. And once the people are educated, it radically changes things because then they understand, okay, this Bitcoin thing is not really a scam. It's just a way for us to actually do business without these people bugging us or slowing us down.
Yeah.
And people like that, because the banks are incompetent. The reason why we exist is they just suck and they don't care anymore. If they
Hmm.
cared, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have to be here, but
Yeah.
they don't. So that's why we're here. So from my perspective, because people are starting to get it right now and see the need for peer-to-peer finance, it is getting easier. Also, quite a few banks now are reaching out to Paxful and want us to have accounts with them.
Hmm.
And these are major investment banks. And we're like, where did this come from? We were like shocked. Like, I'm going to see some of these banks
Oh,
this
that's a
week.
good sign.
It is a great sign. And more and more people are getting into Bitcoin. They, at very least, respect it.
Hmm.
They're not just dismissing it like Jamie Dimon and then buying it on the dip. They're getting it and they're trying to learn
Yeah.
as quickly as possible. So I see it personally. I see it getting easier. There will be more and more resistance
Hmm.
coming, but the critical mass is on our side now. I really feel that way.
Oh, that's positive. So you said you were talking about Africa building schools in Nigeria, was it? And you talked about Venezuela before. What's actually your goal in those places? Are you doing it like idealistically? Is there some kind of profit in there for you? Because I think a lot of those unserved places or underserved places are that way because no one thinks they can profit from them.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a matter of perceptions, right? Like
Hmm.
think about the West. Whenever we think of Africa, we think either three things. That's all I've been fed from the media is poverty, disease, and corruption. That's all
Mm.
we think about when we think of Africa. And I'd say, yeah, I tell people, hey, we're, in Africa, like people are using Bitcoin right now. They're using peer-to-peer finance. They're actually like using it. People are like, oh, that's BS, man. These are people living under $1 a day. There's no, why do they even need, why are they, I'm like, okay. I don't pass judgment on people because I used to think the same thing.
Hmm.
But Africa is not just poor bushmen making under $1 a day.
Yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of brilliant, hungry young entrepreneurs there that are
Uh-huh.
very technically literate, have means, can start, and looking for a way to like, create a business and start wealth.
Really?
And this is the way to do it, right? And
Hmm.
they're like Nigeria is a perfect example of that. Yes, there's a big scam and fraud problem in Nigeria, and we have to deal with it a lot. You'll see some people like, bitching at me at Twitter, my account was suspended. Well, that's because you tried to sell the same gift card 7 times in a row. That's not really a legal thing.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there's that challenge there, certain cultural things there. But the best part about Nigerian culture is that those folks are super ambitious,
Hmm.
very ingenious, always willing to
That
like
much is
create
true,
value.
yes.
Yeah, really looking to go, 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 and that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
So that's why Nigeria is our second biggest country right now.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Interesting.
just like just yeah, it's amazing. And little Ghana, right next to Nigeria,
Hmm.
is our third biggest country.
Right.
India's our fourth, and the rest of Africa rounds out the top 10.
So you've
It's just
actually got
amazing.
offices running there now.
In Nigeria, we appointed a regional director over there,
Mm-hmm.
and we're setting up a full incubator where everyone can come in
Mm-hmm.
and like just sit down and like just basically network. I mean, I met my co-founder at one of these things, so now we're doing this for all of for Africa. We went first Nigeria, then Kenya, then South Africa, and that's how we're gonna just spread this, have events there, and that's all great. Because the key thing is education. There's a lot of people in Africa discovered Bitcoin through scams, like the whole MMM
Mm-hmm.
pyramid scheme really hit Nigeria, and the Nigerians are, they're not all scammers. They're almost all innocent, good-hearted, pretty naive people, and they get preyed upon by scammers,
Uh-huh.
right? That's really what happens. The scammers, it's not just a prince trying to get you to, trying to scam you. The first thing the prince does is, scam his neighbor. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're trying to educate the people there, like, hey, Bitcoin is not just about, these scammers. The reason these scammers are using it is because it's a superior form of money. Now
Mm-hmm.
we can use it too for good things. So we're educating people there. And
Mm.
the more we educate people there, the more they understand, wow, this is going to change everything. This is what we've been needing for so long. They can't keep us in this little prison anymore. We can break out of this prison. And that's super exciting. When they get that, it's amazing. So the best thing we can possibly do for Africa is to enable this, what they're called the cheetah generation, right? These young, upwardly mobile, and kind of angry, and I don't blame them, people that are looking for ways to create wealth and break out of this little prison that they're in, not just by the Western powers and the big evil dark whatever you want to call it, but also by the hippos, the entrenched rich aristocracy in their own country who have
Mm.
sold out. They're really their main focus of anger.
Yeah, they're getting it
'Cause
from
those
all
guys aren't.
sides.
Yeah, exactly. The hippos aren't doing anything to help them. They don't care about their own people. They don't even see themselves as African. So the best thing we can do is to enable and empower this generation to take financial means back. That's
Mm.
awesome. That's the most powerful thing we can do because that's going to pay off extremely powerful dividends and actually helping Africa break out. We call it the Wakanda Project, right? Peer-to-peer finance.
Right.
That's absolutely the way. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
like, like Malcolm X, he was brilliant and he was really ahead of his time. And he said very simply, hey, instead of going out to another neighborhood and begging some, he called them crackers, or, whatever that means, instead of begging someone else for a job,
Mm.
stop, look at your neighborhood, look across the street. Who owns a corner store? Is it someone like you? No? Then will you start a corner store right across the street and get people to come and buy from you? Take control of your own local economies first. That's how you do it. You
Mm.
don't have to, like don't, I'm sure there's if people want to be star athletes and rappers, okay, that's cool. But it's even cooler is like running the business, taking control of the business in your own local economies first. That's how you build. That's how you build. And that's what we're doing. That's number one. Number two, and it's pretty awesome, is building schools in Africa. When I was a kid, I was like, man, that'd be the most amazing thing in the world if I could actually build a school in Africa. And we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's not the main thing, but it's something awesome. It's something that makes me feel like $1 billion. And the country that we chose to build our first school was not Nigeria, our biggest market, because Nigeria is a little rough. You know what I mean? There's warlords in the north, like Boku, whatever, and whoever else they pops up,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know.
Boko Haram, yeah.
But yeah, whatever is the new bad guy of the moment or
Mm,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about the situation actually. But in Rwanda, this little itty bitty country, that's actually like, very similar to like Wakanda. Wakanda is supposed to be on the map, right? If you go there, it's awesome. Number one, you don't even need a visa. It's visa on arrival. Number two, it's super clean, safe, civilized, and there's no corruption. And the best thing about it is that, okay, we all hear about this. When I think Rwanda, I thought about this genocide. Oh, is that still going on?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. What's happened is, I mean, the government has begun a program of reconciliation and forgiveness that is absolutely amazing. It worked. 20 years later after that genocide, the people that were killing each other's children, now they're babysitting each other's children. There's no revenge. It's
Mm.
all been forgiven, and there's reconciliation, and the way any remembrance of it is in a very kind of neutral and deeply respectful state. And I saw that, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. If these folks can do it here, then humanity can do it everywhere. We can let this past go. We can move on and we can heal. We decided to build our first school right in that village where the genocide happened,
Mm.
Bugesera district, right outside of Kigali in Rwanda. And we're actually we just upgraded their desks. They gave them all nice uniforms. paying their teachers the good salaries now, getting them all lunches every day. And we're going to build a primary school right next to it too. We're talking. Just had a chat with Youssef of Zamzam Water. They're the guys leading that over there. So we're going to upgrade and build a primary school for all the other children. Plus, we just came out with this water filtration system for all the wells that we built over there. So for us, it's just a part of Project Wakanda. It's like education, yes, on the site. Where it really matters, and I'm not saying education for nursery schools and primary school doesn't matter, but of course it does. It's big. I mean, you're making a huge difference in the lives of like 300-400 people, and their parents too. But
Are you doing anything that maybe would kickstart a crypto economy over there too?
I mean, yeah, this is the main thing. Kickstarter crypto economy is number one. Get get crypto into people's hands.
Yeah. So what are you doing at the same time as all this outreach work and I don't want to call it charity, but sort of aid work maybe? What are you doing that would actually prompt them to look outside the traditional financial system for solutions?
Well, so the way peer-to-peer finance kind of takes over an economy or gets its foot in the door and spreads is first. The first thing we do in any economy is we go in there and we figure out, okay, why do these people need crypto? What are the use cases, right? There's 6 points really, right? Any country that can score high, medium, or low on any of them. Nigeria scores high on almost all of them, like 5 of them. Venezuela scores high on almost 5 of them too, a different 5, but still very lot of similarities, right? So once we figure that out, and you have to go there to figure out, you understand better why these people need Bitcoin and how you can get it to them. Because then you need to figure out, okay, how can we get money out of the country? Because you want to set up a flow of Bitcoin into the country. You need people there that are going to sell the Bitcoin, but how are they going to give you money, or how are they going to buy the Bitcoin from wherever they're going to buy it from at a good rate, right? Because they need to make a profit selling it to their countrymen, so they can actually have a sustainable business. So you need to figure out the payment methods. How are they going to do it? Is it with their bank accounts?
I'm guessing they don't have Target gift cards down there in Venezuela.
No, they don't. They don't. So there can be challenges there. That's the big challenge. After the intel, the next thing is you want to set up a base of these vendors, these people who are going to sell Bitcoin to their country people, right? And if they do it right, they should be able to make a good profit and actually scale up a business doing that. You need these market makers to make this work. That's the big next step. Like that's what we're doing. Like I spent all last night just getting intel on Venezuela, and now we need to set up all these market makers over there. I need to educate them. How can they actually do this? So it was basically with, like, for example, here's how peer-to-peer finance is helping Nigeria. So now, basically, people always complain, oh yeah, man, sending money with Western Union, it costs like 10%. That's a big pain in the ass. Okay, yeah, it is. People have to, they're sending $100 and paying $10. That does suck. Here's how it works with peer-to-peer finance and services like Paxful and Bitcoin. You send $100 of money to Nigeria, you actually get like $130 in your bank account in that country. So you make money on the remittance, right? Because you're sending the money as Bitcoin, right? And when you send the money as Bitcoin to someone over there, that person is like wants the Bitcoin so they can sell it, right? So they'll try, like they may charge you. They say, okay, you give me $100, I'll give you $110. So they basically pay 10%, and then from there, they'll sell the Bitcoin to their neighbors around them for like $120. So they'll make 10% profit there, right? So then people who couldn't get Bitcoin at all, now they can get Bitcoin. People who were sending money into the country, they're actually getting a bonus for that. So that's how you propagate it and move an economy forward on multiple fronts. It's you set up this circulatory system that just works. And this is the challenge.
Yeah, so just introducing steps and steps where, like, I don't know, it's kind of middlemen, really, each one making a profit on the way to the end user getting their Bitcoin, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the way it has to be, because everyone has to be incentivized in this system, otherwise it doesn't work. Like, people always complain, oh, poor people have to pay such high rates for financial services, and it's true, but hey, it's a free market. You can go there and start selling Bitcoin to Venezuelans and Nigerians now for zero profit. And help them out if you really want to do it.
Exactly.
How many people from the West actually do that? None. Well, I did it for a little while. I'm still doing it a little bit. Like I'm basically sponsoring people in Zimbabwe right now. I'm just sending them free Bitcoin. But you can't just give money away. You have to help people make a business out of it, and they themselves have to be able to sustain it. This is the key. This is how Project Wakanda works, whether it's in Africa, Asia, South America, or wherever. You let people create wealth, create sustainable businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's exactly what Bitcoin has been promising to do right from the start. But I find very few people are out there actually doing it. They might talk about charity and they make a big song and dance about that, but it doesn't always last long, and it only lasts as long as people are giving it away. Like, eventually there has to be some kind of profit motive.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, building schools for children is a great thing, and we're going to do that more, and it does make me feel great, and it is helping, those people. It's helping them tremendously. Like, not just the kids, but also the parents. Like, this one lady was so thankful to us because she could actually, like, put her kids in school, and she could actually work.
Right.
She wouldn't have to babysit them all day. So that's awesome to see that, but that's just secondary. The main thing is we're helping these folks help themselves by allowing them to create wealth and start their own businesses. And crypto is a way to do that. Peer-to-peer finance is a way to do that. We're not, Paxful and peer-to-peer finance is not about speculation and pump and dump schemes and all this bullshit that's happening in crypto, which is really quite disgusting to me, but it's fine. It's getting it in the news, which is good. Crypto is about building these local economies up of scale and self-sustainable enterprises, that are allowing people to bypass any restrictions, obstacles, or borders. That's what peer-to-peer finance is about. And Bitcoin is really the first building block in this peer-to-peer financial revolution. The first thing peer-to-peer finance needed was a peer-to-peer cash system, Bitcoin. The second thing it needed was a network around it that would give it liquidity, and that's the Bitcoin community. All these old school OG Bitcoin maximalists, like me, you, etc. Those are the people that made this happen. The third thing it needs is like these peer-to-peer marketplaces. Like Paxful is just one of them. There's many more popping up, right? And that's it. With those three things, we actually now have the genesis of a peer-to-peer financial revolution.
Yep, which is what we wanted all along. And how's a business in the US doing these days?
It's doing all right. Business in the US is growing rapidly. We're actually like ahead of local Bitcoins there, but it doesn't, to us, it doesn't really, the US and Europe, we're not, of course, there's business there, there's money to be made there, but we don't put our focus there. We put our focus in Africa, the emerging world, frontier markets, South America, where people really need the help. That's why I got into Bitcoin. That's why Artur got into Bitcoin, because it could help the little guy. Like, we're idealistic in that sense. We thought, hey, wait a minute, this can actually like make something actually like happen now. Something can actually change, and we can actually help people that really need it right now. That's really exciting to us. So the U.S., Europe, we're getting a lot of institutional clients that are interested in talking to us there, and we're going to build out something for them. But our primary focus is really on the emerging world and these frontier markets and people that really, really need the help.
So you're finding the authorities over there are quite receptive to this. They're not throwing up extra roadblocks for you, once you start looking successful. I imagine in a place like Venezuela, it could be kind of risky to try and do anything that might circumvent the government's economic policies.
Oh yeah. I heard some serious stories last night that were kind of frightening.
Have you been to Venezuela?
No, I haven't. It's very hard for Americans to get a visa.
Yeah.
I'm trying though. I want to definitely get there. And I would meet with Mr. Maduro himself, sit down and have some tea with him, and tell him just exactly what I feel and what we can do for the country. And I want to know from his perspective and perspective of people like that, like what are their challenges? And I understand they're fighting a war. We're in the era of currency wars right now. People don't realize that, but there's this full-fledged war on countries' currencies. And it's really the most evil kind of war there is. It's basically financial terrorism, right? People don't realize this. But,
even in highly developed countries too.
Absolutely, yeah. If you read the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, they talk about that, how they actually destroy the economies of the currency of countries. Like, they'll buy it up, and then they'll just flood the market with it and just completely crush in and start cutting off vital services, and the whole thing feeds itself, and boom, then you have hyperinflation.
That's what kind of worries me too, because once you've got that kind of stranglehold on someone, you don't really want to give it up just because someone comes along with a better idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's evil. Is really I can't
Mm.
think of a better word than evil for that. If you're not, if that's not evil, I don't know what is.
Oh no, it
But
is.
from my yeah, from my perspective, I want to know how number one we can help the people, and we're always looking to play ball with the government. We'll even we'll talk to anyone. It's not this is not a place where you should be belligerent. You really need to be a diplomat here and try to
Hmm.
see the perspective from even the banks. I'm willing to see it from their perspective. Like for me, it's just the thing that pisses me off about them is that they're incompetent and they don't feel they have to be competent. And
Hmm.
that when you hit something like that, you can't really talk to that person. But if they want to learn and they want to improve their business, and we're willing to talk to everyone. We just want the machine to work. And at the end of the day, our main goal in everything we do is to make a day-to-day difference in the lives of normal people. A
Mm.
day-to-day difference in the lives of that single mother that's just trying to keep, her children fed, keep a roof over their heads. If you can
Hmm.
do that, you're a success. That's what this is all about. That's what governments should do. They failed. So now it's up to the people. And of course, it starts with money. That's what peer-to-peer finance is all about.
Mm. Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time, and I want to end on that sort of upbeat note there. But I do want to ask you something I've always wondered about Paxful, and that is, what do you do with all those gift cards?
Well, we don't actually take the gift cards; it's peer to peer. So it's
Okay, right.
very interesting what happens with those gift cards, right? Because there's like $11 million a week
Mm-hmm.
from Nigeria to China in iTunes gift cards alone.
Mm.
When we saw
That's
this, we're like,
incredible.
wait a
I don't
minute.
think anyone's really aware of that kind of economy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. We were like, what is going on here? Like, number one, why do these Nigerians need this Bitcoin? We figured that
Mm.
out. Number two, how are they getting these gift cards?
Mm. That's a better
Man, and
question.
that's yeah, that's something. That's
Yeah.
something really. My goodness, how they're doing it. And number three, what are these Chinese that they're selling the gift cards to doing with all this iTunes credit, man? For God's sakes,
Mm.
some of these Chinese guys will buy like I don't know, $250,000 of iTunes gift cards a
Okay, I'm
day. Like
I'm curious
what
now. I
are
really I
they?
really want to know what they're doing with them.
We're trying to figure that last one out, man.
Uh huh.
That's something else. It's like they're doing it. There's a couple different ways that we found out that what they're doing with it. We're talking to a couple of them, but it's really interesting what's
Uh huh.
happening. I mean, this world economy, like some Nigerian dude will get on a dating site, talk to this poor lady in Georgia, get her to buy
Mm.
him an iTunes gift card for whatever reason, whatever he's promised he's in love with him. I don't know. He sells it to a Chinese dude. The Chinese dude cashes it out. He's got all this iTunes credit. What is he doing? Is he buying, rap video, music, games, in-game purchase? Like how many upgrades in Clash of Clans do you need? I don't know, man. I
Mm.
don't know what's going
One of my
on.
favorite things about China is the way the people there just will find a workaround for just about anything and make it happen.
Yeah. And that's what peer-to-peer finance is all about.
Uh
Like
huh.
there's people on the hustle that are just looking to create value and solve problems any which way they can, whether they're getting a lady on a dating site to buy them iTunes gift cards, whether they're selling cheap in-game purchases to people in China, and like how are they even meeting and communicate? It's amazing. It really is amazing what we see happening every day. It really is the birth and genesis of a completely new economy that's powered by the people. It's like a Wall Street for the people, really.
Mm.
It's like anyone that's in this scene, you should feel like a Jonathan Belfort, but in a good way. You're
Mm.
not scamming people to buy penny stocks. You're teaching them how to enable themselves and actually, just get your neighbor and you to solve your own money problems. No corporation involved, no one to tell you no. Stop.
Hmm.
Anything you want to do, you can do. You can now get around any obstacle, any blockade. There are no borders. And the best part is you can actually make a business out of doing all that, which
Mm.
is to me
And you
that's
have.
amazing. Yeah, we have, and other people have as well. People on our
Hmm.
platform. It's powered by normal humans. There's like a single mom in Prague. She's making like $10,000 euros a month in profit selling bitcoins with her PayPal account.
Hmm.
There's people who write bots to make $250,000 a week in profit. Selling bitcoins and moving stuff around. There's all kinds of stuff happening, and every time we hear one of these stories, we're like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't think this was they're teaching us. We're not the billion dudes coming up and
Hmm.
figuring out this peer-to-peer matrix. No, we're not, man. I'm literally like I'm the CEO and I sit there and I do support a couple times a week. I'm there answering support, and I do that, yeah, because I want to help people, but Really, it's because I want to learn. I want to see what they're doing with this money. I want to figure out how to help them, and I'm learning the whole way. The
Mm.
people are actually educating us. It's come to that level right
Yeah, yeah. No, that's all. That's all System D. I say, long live System D. It's the world's second largest economy.
now. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. It's going to be the first. Like we're going to see. I mean, how far this can go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we this is the exciting part. Like how far in the next 5 years, how far can we take it? Like everyone when Bitcoin is focused on the speculation and the ICOs and all this,
Mm.
really this crap, and that's fine. And that's getting all the press. Okay, whatever. But there are real people right now building out real structure and lives for themselves in
Yep.
cryptocurrency. And it's before you know it, people are going to say, wow, this just kind of happened overnight. No, it's been happening for the past 3 years. We've been
Mm-hmm.
right in the middle of it. And we haven't been making much noise. We've just been focused on our product. But it's time to start telling people it's about a lot more than just Bitcoin or any one company. It's about
Mm-hmm.
peer-to-peer finance. This is finally here. The sharing economy has finally come to finance. You can't stop it now.
Nice. And those are exactly the kind of stories I want to hear more about. So I look forward to doing that. I'll let you go now. But is there somewhere someone can go to find out more about this? I know there's Paxful.com. But
There's Paxful.com, and
mhm.
there's also my Telegram. I'm Wolfgang X on Telegram. I'm
Okay.
Ray at Paxful.com. You can. I try to answer every single message and every single email I get.
Hmm.
So you can just contact me directly, and I'll try to help you get started. And like send you my favorite educational materials. I'll answer your questions every time someone asks me a question. Yeah, I'll try to answer it and help you, but you're also helping me. So I try to make myself accessible. I'll share some great learning resources with you. And the more questions people ask me, the more perspectives I get, the better we can faster educate people and get them on this road. So come over and say hi.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot. That was Ray Youssef, the CEO and founder of Paxful. And I do encourage you to find out more about what he's doing and definitely find out more about all the people who are using the services and the way they're using them too, because that's the most interesting thing. Okay. Thanks a lot, Ray. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much.